Let's go in the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the screen, everyone. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Do
26.
you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, I support Donald Trump.
What's your birth year?
August 8th, 1999.
For sure. If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you vote for?
I didn't vote, but if I did vote, I was going to vote for Trump. If I could go back right now, I'd still vote for Trump.
Okay, so then here would be my question. Do you think that Tylenol causes autism when used during pregnancy?
I wouldn't say causes it. Um, that's like I'd say it's like a risky thing to say. It's not risky, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Like uh, it's like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I wouldn't just go out and say straight up Tylenol causes autism because like uh, it's not
Trump
a
did.
fact that if you take well, I don't think that's what he said. I think he said there's something along the lines of like there's a correlation between autism or it's something like that. Can you tell me exactly what he said?
He also said there were no downsides to not taking Tylenol, which is just not true. Doctors have come out and talked about the risk of untreated maternal fever or fever for anyone who's pregnant, and specifically that has on their health and on the health of the pregnancy.
No, for
I,
sure, 1,000%. They said Tylenol is one of the only safe things. My wife's actually 5 months pregnant right now with our second child. The first trimester of this one was been really rough for her, so she was like basically stuck in bed for the past 3 months, or the first 3 months of this pregnancy. And she was taking Tylenol almost every day, if not every other day. So I completely understand that. But
and also,
there's
like,
been studies.
how what him saying that gets people to do, because then people think they can't use Tylenol, then they use alternatives. And other
Yeah, I think
alternatives
that's
that they might
dangerous.
use are actually significantly more harmful.
Yeah, ibuprofen's definitely worse, stuff like that. But I do think that there are studies that show a correlation between um, Tylenol and autism, and not just autism and ADHD. Supposedly, there's been studies going back from the late '80s, early '90s, all the way until the late or early 2020s. So they've been studying this forever. This isn't something new that's just came out. This has been a thing that people have known about, and obviously there's no direct link between it, but it's been something that they've been studying. This isn't new. My personal opinion on it is that it's something that they just released to get us to stop talking about Charlie Kirk's murder and other things that are going on in politics, Epstein files, and all that. It's just another thing that they wanted to throw out there just to get people talking about something else.
So correlation doesn't equal causation. Just because there was correlation doesn't mean
No,
that there's any type of causal factor there.
I
Secondly,
agree.
there is a recent study out of, I'm pretty sure it's either Sweden or Finland, with over 2.5 million children that they looked over, showing no association.
Wait, say that again.
Yeah. There was a study from Sweden where they looked at over 2.5 million children that showed no association.
No, that's great. That's great. I mean, like I said, I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you whether it causes it or not. I looked into it a little bit in the past couple of days. After that, it came out that he said that, and they said that there was like studies about it and stuff. But some studies say that there is association. Some studies say that there's not. I'd say it's better safe than sorry. I don't recommend obviously take. I Obviously I wouldn't recommend taking any medication if you don't need to take it. However, if you're pregnant and you have a fever, sounds like you need to take it. I think the risk of not taking it is greater than the risk of taking it. Um,
Hmm.
so in that situation, I'll definitely recommend take it, but I wouldn't take it for something that's like a minor headache or something like that. In that case, I'd probably say tough it out. I think just being hydrated, drinking water is a
Well,
great alternative.
I think anyone would try drinking water before they go to taking Tylenol. And if it is the case that someone feels the need to take Tylenol, right? I don't think we should be like, oh, they shouldn't take it, or like they should just tough it out, especially because the risks associated with quote unquote toughing it out would be actually more harmful.
No, yeah, like I said, I agree. If it comes to like a fever or something like that, where the risk of not taking it is greater than the risk of taking it, then I would definitely err on the side of taking it. But for anybody who's not a medical professional to tell someone not to take a medication is very irresponsible, in my opinion.
Wait, who would you say? You said anyone that repeat that?
Anyone,
Sorry.
anyone, anyone, anyone telling someone not like recommending someone to not take a medication who's not a medical professional. Donald Trump's not a medical professional. He doesn't. It's not his job to tell someone what medication and to not take. So I don't agree with that. Just because I support him doesn't mean I have to agree with everything he said. Obviously, I'm sure there's things of politicians that you support that you might not agree with everything they've done. And I don't agree with everything that Trump says or does. However, I do still support him, just maybe not on that particular topic.
Sure. So yeah, like the idea is that like Donald Trump did exactly that. He's definitely a threat to people in terms of that, in terms of medical health, especially amongst the population. So that's an incredibly important thing to address, alongside plenty of other factors that are going to be harmful towards human health. I guess why would you support Donald Trump?
I think he's done. I think some things that he's done is good. I like his stance on a few things, whether he might be directly responsible for it or not. But a few things are good. Economy's not doing bad right now. Tariff revenue looks good. Immigration policies look good. Border crossings at an all-time low. Um, Stuff like that.
Okay. So the economy is doing bad right now. The tariff revenue is definitely not good because that revenue specifically comes from what's it called, people who are low and
Wait,
middle
if you just
income,
connect the economy
along with
thing,
the
you said
fact
the
that
economy's doing bad.
it's currently frozen. Like they can't use the tariff revenue yet.
Well, using it and having it is two different things. I mean, he's projected about 350 billion in annual tariff revenue right now, where through Biden's administration, he ranged anywhere from as low as 60 billion to 100 billion. Throughout the entire 4 years he was in office, Trump is projected 350 billion annual, just off his first year. And
Who
you said the
pays that?
economy was down. You said
Who
the
pay?
economy was down.
Wait, who pays that
Um,
though? Who pays that revenue?
it depends. Comes from other countries. It also comes from consumers in America. A little bit of everything. It,
No, no. So it actually that revenue itself comes from American importers, like the businesses that are importing the product, and then the cost of that is passed down to the consumer, right?
yeah,
So the
yeah.
cost can be
Okay.
passed other ways, but the idea is that it's paid by the American business importing the product, right?
That's where the majority of it comes from for sure, and that's the point. It incentivizes American manufacturers to source goods from America. If they don't want to source goods from America, they pay the tax, and that tax benefits our country. So it's whether either you buy the goods from America, which will benefit our country, or you pay taxes on goods from another country, and those taxes will still benefit our country. So regardless, America benefits one way or another. Whether you want to say that the argument that the right likes to make a lot is that it's going to increase jobs and all this and that. You could go down a rabbit hole and that regardless, um, it increases annual revenue for the country, which is good.
No, it would have been better to increase taxes on income over $400,000 a year. We would have increased revenue more than what we are specifically doing with the tariffs, and we would have seen there be still a better progressive tax structure rather than having a regressive negative impact on the low and middle class.
What do you mean a regressive impact on the middle class? I mean the what was the bill he did? One big beautiful bill. I mean he cut taxes on the lower class.
Yeah, but it will disproportionately raise the taxes on the low and middle class because of the fact that Kamala Harris would have kept all of the tax cuts from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which is what the tax cuts were applicable to low income individuals, um, uh, for income earners under $400,000 a year. And then she was going to increase income tax on income over $400,000 a year. And then Donald Trump was imposing tariffs. So if they have the same tax rate, specifically under Harris' administration versus Trump's administration, then Trump imposes a tariff on top of that. That means they pay more in taxes.
Who the middle class pays more in taxes?
Yes.
Can you explain that again?
Yeah, like
Lost.
so again, Harris wants to keep all the tax cuts from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that were
Uh-huh.
applicable to income earners under $400,000 a year. So if they would have the same tax rate under Harris's admin compared to Trump's admin, and the only distinction is Trump imposing a greater tariff, then that means that they have a higher tax rate.
Okay, but what about the tax cut that just came out in the one big beautiful bill? He cut tax cut. It was tax
That's the
cut
Tax Cuts and
on.
Jobs Act. So the aspects that were applicable to lower income individuals were the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and then like the deductions for like no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security,
Yeah.
which would have existed under Democrats' policy as well. So all of that would have been the same under the Democrats for income earners under $400,000 a year.
So
But for income over
Trump,
$400,000 a year, then that would have an increase in taxes.
All right, so from my knowledge, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, what I got from the One Big Beautiful Bill was that there was a tax cut on household income. It was like income under 50,000 was, I want to say it was like 14% tax cut, or something like that. There was a like 12% on 50 to 100,000, and it was like 10% on 100 to 500,000.
So, yeah, I don't know where you got these numbers from, but if we want to look at the amount that there's a decrease in taxes, again, Kamala Harris wants to keep the tax cuts for income under $400,000 a year. So any tax cut that was applicable through Trump's policy for income earners under $400,000 a year would still be applicable.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. Yeah.
Okay. So then, like, what would be better from Trump's policy then? It clearly is just increasing taxes on working class Americans while giving tax
I
breaks to
don't think
millionaires and billionaires.
I don't think my taxes went up.
Well, they did because tariffs. Tariffs affect every single one of us. And they're going to continue to cause prices to increase in this country.
So it can cause it, how did so are you saying it causes our taxes to go up, or it causes the price of consumer goods to go up, which in turn affects us?
Both. Because the taxes go up, which causes the price to go up.
I mean,
Because tariffs are a tax on imported goods.
so I mean, I'm going to take what you obviously I'm assuming that obviously what you're saying is true. This is what you do every day for a living. So I mean, I'm assuming.
Like for example,
I'm
think of,
assuming.
think of a sales tax. It's both a tax and it
Yeah.
increases the cost of consumer goods.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I said, I'm assuming what you're saying is true. Obviously, you do your research on this kind of stuff. I'm not an expert by any means, but if what you are saying is true, I'd be willing to pay a little bit extra for a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk or whatever, if it incentivizes manufacturers and companies to source goods from the United States. Obviously, to a certain extent. I mean, I don't want to go pay $10 for a gallon of gas, but I
So
mean,
then
the
why don't you
difference
just
between
buy it yourself? So then why in the free market don't you just buy it yourself rather than forcing it into existence?
what do you mean by myself?
Yeah, like you could go in the grocery store, choose to buy the milk that's made in America, right? If it's more expensive or whatever particular things you want made in America. And you can
I
specifically
mean, I'm
choose
not.
as a
Yeah,
consumer to buy that. But to say that
no,
everyone
yeah,
else should have to
you
do
definitely.
that is ridiculous, right?
I don't think anyone should have to do anything they don't want to do.
That's what
But as I
tariffs
said,
force you to
if
do,
my
though.
well, well, no, tariffs don't force them to do that. Tariffs force the manufacturers to either to choose one or the other. It doesn't force anyone to buy anything.
It does because it makes it more expensive for you to buy stuff from other countries. That's just the reality.
Well, yeah.
Like I
But
don't
you
have an
still have a
issue with you
choice.
going to your local farmers market and supporting your local community. That's great.
Yeah,
I
but you
think
still
people
have a
should
choice,
do
though.
that.
But you still have a choice.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that you still have the choice.
But you said you said forcing a minute
Yeah,
ago.
because
It's not.
tariffs impose a forced tax.
Yes, but it's not forcing someone to purchase something.
It does because of the set of conditions that environmentally speaking
It's
exist due to
not
the fact that
forcing you. It
think about it this way.
might
A,
incentivize you, but not force.
think about it this way. If I tax something that's forceful, correct?
Yes.
If it causes the price to go up, the conditions force me to then buy something that is less expensive compared.
Incentivize. You don't have to buy it, correct?
Yeah, you could choose
You
to
could
buy
choose not.
you can choose to buy something else that's more expensive, but there's no other
Yes.
option that's less expensive that existed prior. So what
So
I'm
it's
saying,
incentivizing you. Is what I agree with everything you're saying. I just don't like the word choice because it's
okay,
not true.
all
But I
right,
agree with what you're saying. I
it
do
is
agree with what
true,
you're saying.
it is true, and every way I was using it made sense. But if you don't like the word, I won't use the word. Okay,
I just
do
don't.
you
I
understand what
don't.
I'm
It's not that
saying?
I don't like it. I take that back. It's not that I don't like it. I disagree with the word force because it's not forcing someone. It's incentivizing them. Yes.
It is forcing someone because a tax is imposing a force on the market, meaning that force pressures people to make different economic choices.
A
Those in
pressure
which
would be
are
an
going to be
incentive.
with. Can I please finish?
Yep.
So again, people have a certain budget. They can't go beyond that budget. They can't make money out of nothing, right? They have to be within a
Yes.
certain budget. So the conditions created by the tax force them in a set of conditions where they can't buy other goods from other countries and they can only buy the American made goods, right?
No, I get what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying. It's not that I don't understand what you're saying, but like I said, they're not being forced to buy it. They're being incentivized. Whether I mean, the alternative might not be great. It might put people
I
in
don't care
bad
to argue with
position
you on this
financially.
point. The way I used it makes sense.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying I don't agree that it's being forced because,
Okay.
like I said, when you say forced, it means they have no alternative option, but they do
How
have an
about a
alternative.
forced incentive? How about that?
I would agree with that statement 100%.
So it is forced.
It's a forced incentive, but
What's
they're not
this?
being forced to you're not being no one's being forced to purchase American made goods. There might be a forced incentive, but they're
They're
not
not
being
being
forced.
forced, but they're forced. There's a forced incentive.
I think that's true.
Okay. All right. So then, I guess you're. What's the reason why you support Trump then? Can we go back to? Oh, you said the economy is doing good, right? How is the economy doing
Yeah,
good? Because
economy.
I can show you how it's doing bad.
Yeah, how's it doing bad?
Yeah, so real GDP is growing at a lower rate. The jobs report was so bad that he fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and then he hired someone new, and they indicated even less jobs for the next month, which is around 7 to 10 times less that we saw 1 year ago in terms of jobs numbers under the Biden-Harris administration. Inflation is trending up since April because of Liberation Day, 2.3 to 2.9%. It's about to eclipse the 3% when Trump got in office. We could point to plenty of things. Jerome Powell brought down the interest rates, or said he was going to bring down the interest rates, and said that that's going to risk inflation going up even more. But they had to do it because otherwise there wouldn't be enough upward pressure on jobs. So those are all bad things about the economy.
Yeah,
Look
I
at the
mean, well,
tariffs.
yeah, it's not perfect, but I mean, I don't think it's as bad as the left wing media made it out to be during like the election. They said that bread was going to be $10 and eggs were going to be $100 and all this crazy stuff the media pushed, and I mean, it's just none of it was true. They said that it was going to be another recession and that everyone was going to be poor. We weren't going to be able to afford groceries, and it's just none of it was true. Yeah, it's just the way I look at it. I mean, it was just whole bunch of misinformation. They said groceries is going to be crazy expensive, and it's not. Um, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not saying it's perfect. I
So
mean, they made it out to be like
groceries are more expensive, right? It
yes,
is the
groceries
case
are
that
more
inflation
expensive.
is trending up, right? It is the case
Inflation
that
is just about the same as when 2.9%. It's about the same as when he took office.
Did you listen to anything that I said? It's trended up from 2.3% in April since the tariffs have been implemented. And it's continuing to be on a trend up because of the fact that Jerome Powell said that he was going to put downward pressure on the interest rates so that there would be upward pressure on jobs, which would then put upward pressure on prices as well. It's currently
Uh,
2.9%. It's about to
when
eclipse the.
Trump took office, it was 2.9%.
It was 3%. The reason, and it went down to 2.3% by the time that Trump imposed the tariffs. It then went up again because Donald Trump imposed tariffs. So I'm talking about the effect since tariffs have been implemented. So it's on a trend up. It wouldn't be on that trend up if Trump weren't in office.
Possibly. I mean, I think it's a hypothetical. You can't.
No, we know because we know the
We
effect of
don't know.
tariffs.
So you think tariffs are an overall bad thing?
So yeah, tariffs used the manner in which they are a bad thing.
So you don't agree with the reciprocal tariff?
I don't think it's reciprocal.
What do you mean that you don't think it's reciprocal?
It's not the same as what they have on us. That's what reciprocal is.
That's why I was asking why you don't think that they are reciprocal. I mean, the fact sheet that the White House released, it's on their website. They got fact sheets that they released.
Yeah, they didn't even calculate the percentage tariff
Not all
correctly.
of them not all of them were reciprocal, but a great amount of them
No,
were.
the percentage tariff they were claiming the other country had on us wasn't even the percentage tariff. It had to do with
So
GDP and the level of imports. Like it was a really weird metric they used. It had nothing to do with with the actual what's it called, tariff percentage.
Mm-hmm. So it's just false information, is what you're saying.
Yep. Yep. False information.
Well, I guess I got to do some more research into that then as well.
Yep.
So, all right, well, I'll give you that. I mean, like I said, I ain't an expert on it. I thought the economy at least doesn't look bad. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's great, but I don't think it looks bad. I think the value on my houses went up, so I'm happy. Um,
Okay. The value on your house went up. So you understand that it's going to likely go down because it is the case that people's pockets won't be able to afford it to the
hey,
same
I
extent
bought
in the
a,
in the
I bought
long run, along with the idea that the cost of manufacturing is going up because of tariffs. So it's putting upward pressure on the prices for housing, but yet it will still see a decline in the housing prices for people who already have houses because it is the case that there's a reduction in the demand because of the fact
Yeah,
that
well, I
the
mean,
economy isn't doing
yeah, I
so
mean,
well.
it
Have you
it
seen the
fluctuates
jobs
all the time.
report?
I mean,
That's why
well, yeah, I
they
mean,
that's why they
it
reduced
fluctuates all the
the
time. There's
interest
gonna be
rates.
buyers markets, sellers markets, buyers markets, sellers markets. I mean, it fluctuates. Yeah, I mean, if it's not a seller's market, I buy another house.
Okay, so then you're just saying that you buy another house. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying it's the
Can't
price
take
is
a
gonna
little
go down
shit,
because
thank
nobody
you.
can. You're saying that
You
like
can buy multiple houses, bro.
yeah. I mean, what do you mean?
Good for you. Good for you. I don't think that's like something a typical American can do.
I'm a typical American, bro. I'm nothing special.
I'm sorry. I
I'm
don't. Do you think the average American can buy two houses?
uh yeah, I do actually.
How
I don't
so?
think I think that the majority of Americans that aren't financially free are because of one of not financially free, I wouldn't say. I say not in a position to be able to purchase a home is because of a couple variables. But I mean, dude, I didn't go to college. I
Dude,
joined the military
multiple
right after high
houses?
school.
I'm sorry, bro.
I,
How? Multiple houses?
I mean, it did. I
Come
mean,
on. Come on, dude. That's definitely not average. That's definitely not
I
average.
wouldn't say it's average. You're right. I wouldn't say it's
Yeah,
average, but it's
it's
definitely
no, it's
doable.
being able to buy a house right now is above average.
Well, I mean, you take out a loan. I mean, I'm not like I'm buying them in cash.
Yeah, I'm talking about for our generation. You're young, right? You're around my
Yeah,
age.
I'm 26. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
26.
like our generation, being able to buy a house isn't even the norm.
No, I 100% agree. I don't know many people my age that aren't in the military that own a house. That I'm in the military. I use a VA loan. I'm in the military. I used a VA loan. I bought a house.
Oh, good,
Um, you can have multiple
good for
VA
you.
loans out.
That's
Yeah,
great. That's great.
I
And I
mean, so
mean,
it's not like I'm rich or anything.
sure.
My wife's a teacher. Mm.
I mean, just being able to buy multiple houses though is not something like the typical American can do. So it's like if it is the case that there's a downward trend in the markets, that's not going to be a good effect for people who are in need, right?
No, it's definitely not gonna be a good effect for people in need. But I mean,
Because of the fact that it's based upon people not being able to afford houses. Now, if it were a downward pressure on prices in terms of houses, but it's because there's a greater level of supply of housing, that's a good sign, actually.
you
Because
said what
now
was that?
more people have access to housing. If the price of housing goes down, because it is the case that more people have access to houses because there's a greater supply of houses, that's a better sign than specifically if it were to be a reduction in the prices of houses because people cannot afford houses. Those are radically different incentives in the market,
Yeah,
right?
but I'm saying the prices of
One's
houses are
indicative
going
of
up
like a
right now.
recession and there not being good standing in the economy, and the other one is indicative of there being like investments in housing and bettering conditions for people's access to shelter.
Yeah, but the prices of houses are going up right now.
The prices of houses are going. Yes, they are right now. I was talking about the
So
long run,
that's a good
Brian.
thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, and yeah, what
Not
you're saying is
necessarily. Not necessarily. It depends on why. Why are the
yeah. I mean,
prices
I
of
get
housing going up? There you go. Is that a good reason for the price of housing to go up? No, because that was
No, that is
artificially
not.
imposed
That's
by
not.
the Trump administration's policy.
Yes, that's not a good. That's not a good reason. Like you just said, it'd be better if the price of houses were going up because there was a line of people waiting to buy a house. But I mean, I think many people right now can afford housing. I don't think it's great, but I mean, I don't think it's horrible. I mean,
Can you name one housing affordability policy that Trump was advocating for?
housing affordability policy? No, I cannot.
Okay.
Is
So,
there any?
well, he didn't really have any housing affordability policy that he advocated for. So like it definitely doesn't put us in a better circumstance in terms of the prices for houses. Kamala Harris did run on a housing affordability policy though.
Yeah, I mean that's great, dude. I mean, I'm not against affordable housing. Um, I grew up in Section 8 my whole life. I mean, I'm not against it. I I don't agree with complete government people relying on like government assistance and stuff like that. Um, I don't
I'm not just trying to make people rely on government. I want government to be there to provide a baseline for everyone. It's like a safety net to catch you if you need it.
temporarily. Yes, I'm not opposed to that at all. I do think that the system's broken and that people have abused the system for a very long time.
Okay, so like if you acknowledge the importance of having these types of systems in existence in order to be able to ensure that people have adequate level of housing, right? Then obviously you would be in support of Democrats' policy over Republicans' policy because Republicans, historically speaking, are the ones cutting these programs.
What programs did he cut?
Medicaid, food stamps, free school lunch and breakfast. And Republicans have often advocated against the funding for Section 8.
He cut Medicaid, or he
Yes.
put requirements on it,
He increased the requirements to decrease the amount of people on them. So that's
which
cutting it.
which is good. We should
No,
decrease the amount of
no,
people. We should decrease the amount of people on government assistance.
no. Cutting people off is bad. What?
What do you, we don't want people to be on government assistance. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, the way we
It's a
want to
good.
get the way we want to get them off is by them being able to take care of themselves, not before they're able to take care of themselves.
Yes, I agree completely. 100% agree.
Okay, so then cutting them off is not getting them to be able to take care of
It's not cutting
themselves.
them off. It's putting a requirement, forcing them to be able to become
It is
self
cutting them
sufficient.
off. If think about it this way, if I have a program that says, for Social Security, in order to be able to get access to it, you have to be over 67 years old. If I
Uh-huh.
increase that to 70 years old, did I cut people off Social Security?
Yes, but unless you put
Yes.
unless it doesn't go into effect until 2027, like he did.
No, just think about it this way. I'm cutting people off, right? Meaning that it is the case that just because I
It's
increase qualifications doesn't mean that I am somehow not cutting them off. I'm still cutting them off even though I increased qualifications.
Yeah, but it didn't go. It's not like it went into effect tomorrow. You know
So
what I mean? It doesn't go into effect for years. So I mean,
just
you give
because he's
people
taking
time.
away children's access to free school lunch and breakfast,
I don't agree
like
with
in
that
the
at all.
future, doesn't mean that it's
I don't agree with that at all.
okay.
That's the one thing I do not agree with at all. Zero. Not even, I had free lunch all through school up until like I want to say maybe sophomore or junior year when my mom started making more money. And then we didn't qualify for it anymore or something like that. But yeah, all my whole childhood, I don't agree with that at all. Me personally, weren't in as bad a situation, but I know people that was their only meal was they got to go to school
Yeah.
early, they eat breakfast, and they ate lunch, and they might not eat again. They might at the beginning of the month, end of the month, they probably ain't gonna eat again the rest of the day. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think children should suffer from politics or their parents' financial decisions.
Exactly.
But
I
the
totally agree with you on that. So then if we don't want children to suffer from the set of conditions that exist because of politics, well then clearly we would not support Donald Trump, whose bill cuts children off of access to free school lunch and breakfast. And regardless of whether or not it's going to happen in the future, that shouldn't happen at all. So if it's going to happen to a greater extent because of Trump, well then you probably shouldn't support him.
I don't think that's gonna happen though. I don't think that's going to happen. And if it does happen, I would be very upset. I don't agree with that. However, I do agree
It
with.
is going to happen. It's already been passed. The bill has already been passed.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting rid of school free school lunches. But
They actually
I
literally are. That for
mean,
420,000 children on average, and not for every single person, but for
but
420,000 children per
yeah, I
month.
mean, but states can still fund that. I mean, that's they're not gonna starve children. It's not gonna happen. Um,
It will starve children. That's the reality.
I don't see that happening. And if it does happen again, like I said, I will
It
not. I
is
will
going
not.
to happen. I mean, we can literally look at the bill. Like the bill indicates that it's going to happen.
We'll see. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying I support it. I don't think I don't think that will happen. I don't think any school district is going to allow children to starve. I think they'll come up with some funding, whether it's local, state. They might not get
Has it
federal funding
happened
for it.
historically? Have children starved historically?
I haven't seen. I haven't seen a starvation problem. If anything, we have the opposite in America. But
Because of the fact that we've addressed, and also there is a starvation problem even in America. There are children that I knew growing up that wouldn't have access to food, right?
no, I completely
And
agree. I
because
can
of the
relate.
school lunch policies, they got access to food.
I can relate, and I completely agree. However, you everyone in me and you and everyone in the chat, we know more fat people than starving people.
I think it's ridiculous to say specifically that because someone would be what you'd consider fat would specifically be because of the fact that they like eat too much. You understand that there are plenty of conditions,
Well,
right?
other than
Medically
medical, yeah,
speaking, that lead to
barring medical
people
issues.
being determined by society to be considered fat, but yet it is the case that it's not due to like them being quote unquote lazy. I think the idea of associating being fat with being lazy is insane.
I didn't
It's
say anything about being
it,
lazy. I'm talking about eating.
it's like people saying I'm lazy just like I don't want to eat more because I'm super skinny because I deal with issues in terms of how much I can eat. Someone could call me lazy and say that I just couldn't eat enough.
Well, I mean,
I'm too lazy to go out and eat more. You know what I mean? Like someone could claim that about me. I think that's
I'm
pretty
not saying I'm
ridiculous.
not saying anyone's lazy. I'm just saying that we have a bigger problem with obesity than we do with starvation.
I think that can be multifaceted problems to address within the context of our society, and I don't think stigmatizing specifically people in terms of their bodies makes conditions better in terms of obesity in America. I think that we would address obesity to a greater extent if we provide adequate like access to nutritional facts, to different resources in terms of healthy foods, subsidization for healthy foods, also like in terms of like healthcare, providing access to healthcare and health insurance, right? Like all of those
We,
things are incredibly important.
is there not access to healthcare?
No, and there are millions of people in this country that do not have access to health insurance.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, for sure. But I mean, there's a path to it.
What's the path?
You get healthcare. I mean, I'm
You just
confused.
get it. You just get it. Where do people just get it for free?
I get it through my job.
Yeah,
I don't know.
if their job
Where do you
doesn't
get it?
provide it,
I don't, you go get healthcare. You pay for it.
you just get healthcare.
And what about Medicare? Ain't that a thing? Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff.
Yeah, so a Medicare and Medicaid specifically are incredibly important, and not everyone qualifies for Medicare and Medicaid. That's why there are millions of people within our system that still don't get access to it. That's why I believe in something called Medicare for all. Like,
What's
and
Medicare for?
it's not just Medicare expanded to everyone. It's mental health, dental, eye care, things that you need, right? In terms of your health, right? Universally, people have access to.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great, but like I said,
It is great.
I agree with the requirements that are put in place for it. And if you can meet those requirements, then you get it. I mean,
If you can meet the
sounds good.
requirements, then you get it. And again, you change the requirements to make it so that less people get it is not a good thing, right?
Well, yeah, but it's not like you act like you made the requirements like you guys like you got to go like tomorroow's to get it. Like it's not like it's an impossible thing to do.
You're saying it is for some people to get access to. Plenty of people specifically who are disabled, right, haven't quite yet gotten through the system to qualify for a disability yet because it takes so long to go through the system, and they would lose access to their things that they need because of it.
Well, I mean, it doesn't go into effect till 2027, and I mean,
Well,
it's an
people
80.
people at that point, there's still going to be people that are trying to get access to disability that haven't quite yet gotten through the system yet to be able to get access to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be outliers. I agree. I mean, it'll never be perfect, even with whatever system you proposing. It'll never be perfect.
I'm not
However,
claiming perfection. I'm claiming that I want a system that is going to be able to provide for everyone.
and like I said, I mean, if you got a system that you think could provide for everyone without negative consequences, I mean, I'd be all for it.
I
However,
again
there's
never
people.
said there was no negative like of course
No,
there's
I
going to
said
be some
yes,
negative
I said.
consequences, but the negative consequences are heavily outweighed by the positive benefits.
What would you consider a negative consequence?
There being a slight increase in wait times.
That'd be the only
That's
negative consequence.
but that's because more people get access to it. That would be one of the only ones. Yeah.
If that'd be the only negative consequence, yeah, I mean, I'd take that. If that was the only negative consequence, I'd take that. However, I don't. I mean, what about funding? I mean, I think that becomes.
Obviously, it would cost money, but it would be cheaper.
You think it'd be cheaper
Yes,
for who? You think it'd be
for
cheaper for
everyone
everyday
on
Americans?
average.
You think so?
Yes,
How would it be cheaper to provide medical care for medical insurance for millions of tens of millions of people
because it's not
than
for
not?
profit.
Well, I mean, I don't like big pharma, so I mean, I'm all for that. I don't want them profiting off nothing. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not an expert or anything. So my main point was really that I just agree with the work with the, not just the work requirement, because it wasn't a work requirement. I was on Dean's live yesterday, and I like Dean. He's pretty educated on a lot of stuff. But he kept drilling down on the point that Trump put in a work requirement. It wasn't just a work requirement. It was work, school, or volunteer requirement, totaling 80 hours. So yes, there are people that can't work, but if you can't work, you could volunteer. You could continue your education, stuff like that. Yeah, it's not hard to volunteer. In 80 hours a month is not a lot, in my opinion. But I agree with that. It forces people to not be as dependent on government assistance, which is a good thing.
I don't
I
think
do
someone
think
should
it.
have to volunteer for 20 hours a week in order to be able to get access to what they need.
So you
Like
think they
say,
should? So you think they should just get it for free?
yeah, I think that they should. I believe in universal access to health insurance free at the point of service.
See, I don't agree with that. Well, I mean, I think it sounds good. I think it sounds good.
The reality is that it is good.
Yeah, but people take it. But what they had in place previously sounded good as well. But people
No,
took
it didn't.
advantage of it.
No, it didn't. People not having systems that like fund it for them to have access to is not good. It's better than the system we had prior, but the system we had prior literally didn't protect people with pre-existing health conditions.
So if the system we had prior wasn't good, then why is it such a big deal that Trump's changing it?
I said prior to the ACA. I was talking about like the ACA. I
I don't
thought
know.
you were referring to the ACA.
No. I'm saying like the prior to what all the Trump's changes and everything. If that system was so that system people
What
were.
changes did Trump engage in?
What do you mean, like all the requirements that he's putting in and stuff like that, and the
Oh,
cutting
for
of the.
Medicaid and Medicare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like
That's just
if it was so.
cuts.
You said what?
That's just cutting it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just cutting it. See, I mean, like people use terminology like that. I mean, it's just like fear mongering. You're just saying, "Oh, he's cutting this. He's cutting this." He's not
I
cutting
already
it.
showed you earlier that it was cutting. Like
Well, I
I got
mean,
you to concede on that earlier.
he's not cutting it. I mean, he's putting in requirements that will, yes,
Cut
reduce
people's
the amount
access
of
to
people.
it. Yeah, that's what cutting
Not
it
cut,
is.
not cut people's access. It will limit the number of people that are on it because some people meet the requirements. People that don't need it won't make the requirements. People that do need it will find a way to make the requirements if they can, and if
No,
they
so
can't,
there
that's a
are
different
people that
situation.
need it that are not going to get access to it.
And that would be horrible.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that you're not reducing it from people who don't need it. You're reducing it from people who do need it. And this idea and this lie that you're reducing it from people that don't need it is something perpetuated by people on the right, historically speaking, to be able to try and
Hmm.
justify them cutting people off of it so they can give tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. If you want to save money from your systems, right, and that's the goal that you have there, Donald Trump's overall policy adds significantly more to the debt.
I don't know. I haven't looked into that. I mean, if that's true, I mean that's not a good idea. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would if that what you said's true, I wouldn't agree with. I don't want to add debt. I mean, someone's got to pay for it eventually.
Okay. You don't want debt, but someone has to pay for it. Trump adds more debt.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if that's true, I wouldn't. I don't want more debt.
Okay.
But
Fine.
I also don't want people abusing the system, which they have been for years.
The people abusing the system are the rich and wealthy that are constantly getting tax loopholes and tax breaks, and they don't have to do as much for how much they're able to make. That's who's benefiting from the system. That's who's taking advantage of the system, not the people who are getting access to free school lunch and breakfast and Medicaid and food stamps. So why don't we focus on the people that are actively harming our systems, the rich people that are going through all the tax loopholes and tax
Yeah, I
breaks
agree.
that they get literally put into the system because they're able to fund politicians to a significantly greater extent to make them money off of it, right? Or the big fossil fuel companies, right? That are specifically Donald Trump was going to saying that if you give me $1 billion for my campaign, I'll give you 110 billion dollars in tax breaks. That type of corruption is what we need to be going after. That's who's taking advantage of our system, not the
Yeah, I
people
agree.
that are
I
relying on
agree.
the systems in need.
I agree, but I mean that's been going on for years. Like we want to talk about big picture and the global elites and all their corruption. I mean that's been going on for years, and I don't think that has anything to do with Trump. I think that's been going on before Trump. That's been going to be going on after Trump. That'd be going on no matter who was in office. There was corruption under Biden's administration. There's corruption under Trump's administration. I mean that's just politics, and that's the global elite, and that's how they operate, and everybody knows that. Trying to put that on one side or the other is
No,
just
but Trump's
foolish.
significantly more corrupt. Can you give me any basis for saying that like there would be more corruption on behalf of the Democrats?
No, I wouldn't say there's more under one or the other. I mean, I think Trump is a lot more corrupt. I think that this administration that we're seeing now is not the same administration we saw in Trump's first term. Um, I think the state of Israel has a big hand in our politics now, bigger than they have previously, um, which I don't agree with. But
Because of Donald Trump and because of like
I don't think it's
Democrats'
because
pro-Israel
of Donald
position.
Trump. I think yes. I mean, I think that's a big problem. I do think that's a big problem. I wouldn't say it's
I
because
do
of
think
Trump.
that Donald Trump is more lenient to Israel. Like he's literally
I do
said
agree with
Israel
that.
can do what they want. They can do a one state, two state, whatever. He said he's leaving it up to them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't agree with that. But yeah, I do think that that's a big problem. But I don't think it's just a Trump problem. I think we've always had
I
an
never
issue.
said it was just Trump.
No. I'm not. I know you didn't say that. I'm just saying that's my opinion. I don't. I wouldn't say that this. You're pointing to like one. You're trying to use a problem to justify another problem just because there are people abusing the system on a smaller level. People that are abusing food stamps that don't need it. People that are abusing government assistance that don't need it. You're trying to justify that by saying that the global elite are abusing the system by using tax cuts. You can't point at a bad
No,
act to
I'm
justify another
saying
bad
that
act.
elites are using it, like elites like Donald Trump are using it to abuse the system to a significantly greater extent than anyone ever could who's in the working class
Yes,
or in the middle class
I
or in the low class
I
of our society.
complete, com- completely agree. But I don't see that every day. I don't see
What do you mean?
I don't see these global elites walking around at the grocery store. I don't see them. You know what I mean? So it's yes, I know it's a problem. I know it's happening, but I don't see it. It's not in front
Wait,
of me. But when
so
I
just
do
because
see
you don't see it
somebody,
doesn't mean it's not a problem. You agree it's a
no,
problem,
no,
right?
and I agree. It is definitely a problem, but I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not speaking like for everybody, but for the majority of people, we're not running into global elites every day, so we don't see this. But I do see people pull up in a Mercedes Benz and walk into the store and then go pay with EBT. So Like that's a problem that's a problem that I see.
So if
But
it were people specifically who do not need it, because there can be like a, I'm guessing like a Mercedes Benz that like is not as expensive or something, but if it was someone who didn't need it and was like pulling up and they don't need it and they're still using it, that's wrong, right? We don't dispute
that's
you
what I'm
there,
saying.
but that's not the majority of people. It's a very small percent. So like cutting people off, right, specifically who don't work, right, the 80 hours in a month isn't going to reduce that from happening.
I think it would incentivize people to go get a job though. People that purposely don't work so that they can receive government assistance.
Yeah, so I don't think that uh so someone who's purposely not working to receive government assistance is going to be able to drive around an expensive Mercedes Benz. Can you explain to me
How
how they
you be,
would have been able to get that?
you'd be surprised.
No, explain to me.
What do you mean? Explain to you how they get money
Yeah, how would
illegally.
they? Okay, so then they're breaking the law.
Yeah, a lot of people do it.
Okay, so then you hold people accountable for breaking the law.
I
Like
agree.
you don't incentivize it to exist to a greater extent by voting in a convicted criminal, right?
Eh, I think that's also a sham, but
He is a convicted criminal. That's a fact. It's not a
yeah, I
sham. It's a
mean,
fact.
yeah, he's a convicted. He's definitely a convicted felon, but I mean, convicted on trumped up charges. But I
Oh,
mean,
really? What charges were quote unquote trumped up?
yeah, what was the what they charge him with for paying off the girl? Then he paid off the I don't know if I can say the word on
So,
TikTok, but
by the way, it wasn't because of the hush money payment. It
yeah,
was
that one.
because of the
I don't
falsification of business records in the first degree, which is a class C felony in the state of New York because of a predicate crime.
that's what I'm saying. They charging him with crimes over paper. People making it seem like he's like some evil guy. He's always a felon, whatever, whatever. Dude got charged with paperwork. Like it's not a big deal.
Wait, okay? So if you say it's not a big deal, that doesn't mean it's not a felony.
No, I mean whether it's a felony or not, I really don't
Okay, so
care.
is it a big deal when people come to the country undocumented?
Is it a big deal? Yeah, I think it's a big deal.
Okay, so felonies are not a big deal, but coming to the country undocumented for a better life and working here, someone who's never committed a violent crime or bad crime, right? They are so bad for coming to the country undocumented for committing a misdemeanor.
No, I don't think I don't think they are bad. I think what they're doing is bad. I think it creates an issue. I don't think they're bad people. Somebody's undocumented, but then they're coming here for a better life, like I understand it. I get it. If I was in their shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. I'm not knocking them as a
Does it create
person.
an issue with someone like Donald Trump doing that?
I don't condone anyone breaking the law. However, I think I I I think there are levels to crime. I think that crimes that he was convicted of on a serious crime, in my opinion. I think there are levels to it. Violent crime would be held at a higher level than a crime for falsifying business records. I don't really care about that.
Yeah, so you say that you don't care about it, but it is the case that you do care about the misdemeanor. I don't think a mis. Can you tell me one way in which someone coming to the country undocumented who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime is harming the system?
Because we need to know who's in our country.
You need to know who's in our country. Okay,
Yeah, but I mean,
then you
these
don't
people
have
have to be
you
vetted.
don't have to deport them in order to be able to figure out who they are.
Well, the people have to be vetted. These people are coming in. They're using government assistance. They're taking funding.
No, they're
It's
not.
costing billions. It's
They
costing
don't
billions.
even they don't even qualify for government assistance if they're in the country undocumented. Secondly, if you want to talk
We're
about
housing.
people,
We're housing them. We're housing them.
no, we're not. Undocumented
Yeah, I mean,
immigrants? No, we're not.
yeah. Well, I mean, 59 million in New York City alone
So you're talking about asylum
in
seekers.
2024.
Asylum seekers are legal immigrants. Secondly, if you want to talk about a vetting process, then provide a pathway to citizenship and a vetting process for those who have not
Hold on.
committed a violent crime or bad crime who are already in the country undocumented. What benefit would you
There
get
is a
specifically for
process.
deporting them? And also, wait, 59 million. I didn't even fucking hear that. Where'd you get 59 million? Jesus Christ.
Look it up.
In New York City. There's not even 59 million people in New York City.
Yeah, look it up.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Look it up.
Look it
What are
up.
you
Google
talking
it.
about?
Google
Where?
it. 59 million people in New York City alone. Just look at the spreadsheet of USAID funding, spreadsheet of funding from USAID in 2024, I believe it was. There's a spreadsheet tells you all their
Stop, stop,
funding.
stop,
You
stop,
can
stop,
click on the
stop.
link. You can
There
tell you
are
the
not
exact
even
dates that
59
payments were
million
made.
people in New York City.
It can tell you
There,
the exact dates that
there
all
aren't
payments
even
were made.
59 million people in New York. Okay? There aren't even 59 million people in New York. Okay? What are you
What
talking
is your
about?
point? What's your point?
You said there's 59 million people in New York City.
No, I said 59 million dollars on that were spent on housing illegals in New York City, or undocumented immigrants, I should say.
Okay. $59 million funding housing for asylum seekers that are
Yeah, well,
going through the legal process of
no,
migration.
no, hold on. So there's yes, there
By
is
the
a
way,
path.
you did say 59 million people. I just want to let you
No,
know you
no, I
definitely
said
did.
50. I said 50. I said 59 million in New York City alone. I said that we're spending money on housing them. You said they don't
Okay,
qualify
okay.
for
I
government
can,
assistance.
yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
that's it was a
I just
miscommunication.
want to let you know the clip that you'll see on Instagram and on YouTube later that millions of people will see definitely will show that you said 59 million people. Lori,
No,
thank you so
I'm
much for the
definitely gonna say
$10.
59.
Thank you so much, Lori. I
Definitely say
really
59
appreciate it.
million.
Super, thank you so much for the $2. Robin with the $10. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Robin. Ben, thank you so much for the $2. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Federal, thank you for the $5. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. They said that I'm responsible for the political hate and division. How, bro? What are you talking about?
Listen, they're
Mine, thank you so
responsible
much for
for
the
it.
$5. Thank you. And for the $5 again, I really appreciate it. Sage with the $2. Thank you. Philip with the $2. Thank you. Mary Poppins with the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Seth, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Skin, thank you so much for the membership subscription. Sophie with the $5. Thank you. Terry, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. Darsel with the $5. Really appreciate it. Al, thank you for the $50 on YouTube super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. They asked, and I think it's for the guest, is how do you feel about Trump's threat to annex Canada?
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I feel like if Canada want to become part of the U.S., then they become part of the U.S. If they don't, then they don't. I mean, I don't really feel one way or another. I think if it's something that both parties want, then make it happen. If it's something that both parties don't want, it won't happen. And it looks like there's a bunch of Canadians in the
no.
chat
By the
saying
way,
they don't want it.
Canada does not want this. Okay, so
So
Trump
then,
just threatened to annex them. Do you think that's okay?
no, I guess not. I mean, but like my thing is like it it's not gonna happen. So it's like, does it really matter what he say?
Yes, it does,
Yeah, it does matter.
and it's not going to happen because we should push back to it. So, and by the way, it's still out of threat. Donald Trump still will try to do it, but like it's not legal for him to do it. But I mean, when has that stopped him in other circumstances? So there are real issues with it. Aku, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $5. Thank you. Lord, thank you so much for the $10 for the donation from the DNC. Thank you so much. Carolina, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's just something that would be so bad insofar as that like someone I would like someone would it would make sense to like deport them. So like I wouldn't be able to provide every single example, but like for example, there'd be forms of robbery that specifically would be so bad insofar as that like someone should be deported, even though it might not involve what's it called? Or fraud or something like that. That would involve violence. Sadie, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sadie. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. For when did crime suddenly become not a big deal? I know, right? Glampire, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I actually was going to ask about this. You know, I was actually going to ask about this, so thank you for reminding me about that. Kayla, thank you for the $2. And then Narcisa, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $10. Thank you. Thank you so much. Kira, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Rebecca with the $4.20. Christopher with the $5. Thank you so much, Christopher. Kennedy with the $5. Thank you. Jackie with the $10. Rachel, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Rich.
Hector with the $5. Thank you. Hayes, thank you so much for the $3. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for all the gifters. I really appreciate it. They wanted to ask about this. I have a question. Are you Antifa?
Am I Antifa?
Yeah.
No, I'm not no Antifa.
So you're pro-fascism?
What's the Antifa? I don't even know what Antifa is. I heard Antifa on the on social media. They show like the people breaking windows while they're looting. They be like, oh, that's Antifa.
So Antifa just means anti-fascist. So technically in World War II, when we were fighting the Nazis, we were Antifa. And now Donald Trump has categorized Antifa, which is not even an organization, it's just a ideology of being anti-fascist, as a domestic terrorist group in the United States. So if people who are anti-fascist are a domestic terrorist group, who would consider Antifa, people who are anti-fascist, a domestic terrorist group? Probably fascists, right?
Yeah, I'm Antifa then, I guess.
Wait, so then
by definition, if Antifa by definition, if Antifa by definition means anti-fascist, I'm Antifa.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm Antifa too, but the Trump administration is calling us domestic terrorists.
Damn, that stinks. Because I took an oath to defend against domestic terrorism.
Yeah. So then, are you still going to be Antifa? Yes, right. Because the actual terrorists would be the fascists in government, not the people who are anti the terrorism in our government, right? So
yeah, for sure. Wait, hold on, real quick. Just because I just said that I took an oath, I just want to also state that obviously, I'm sure people looked at my profile. My opinions and my opinions are not the opinion of the Department of War or the Department of the Navy, by the way.
Of course, that's an important thing to say. So again, the point would be is that we are Antifa, right? Not in terms of there's a community of people or anything. It's just that we are against fascism. That's all it means. And Donald Trump, to categorize it as like a domestic terrorist organization is crazy, right? And I think that's a huge threat on our freedoms and on our rights. If he were to categorize something such as a basic thing, something that we've done in World War II as domestic terrorism.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, now that's crazy. I ain't no Antifa meant anti-fascist, but yeah, now we don't like fascists. So,
yeah, and like also like them trying to say that Antifa are like people rioting and looting is also crazy because like I'm Antifa, what am I doing? I'm on TikTok live debating people, right?
So no, what you do is important. I respect what you do. I like what you do, even though I might not agree with you on everything. I think what you do is important.
Yeah, so like there's nonviolent political resistance, particularly within the context of the ideology of people who are Antifa, right? Which is exactly what I'm engaging in right now. So like the idea that they're associating it with rioting and looting is something that they're trying to use to act like it's an issue or act like it's a problem or act like people are violent specifically for being anti-fascist.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's crazy. But yeah, no, I want to go back to the immigration thing. So you don't agree with deportation?
No, I don't. I don't agree with deportation for people who have not committed a violent crime or a bad crime. But people who have committed violent crimes,
what's a bad crime?
Yeah, a crime so bad insofar as that someone should be deported. So
that's like circular logic.
Yeah, it's circumstantial to whatever your position is. Like for example, identity theft. Identity theft would be so bad insofar as that, like, if someone used identity theft in order to be able to like steal something or to like be able to do something bad, right? Maybe it didn't include violence, but it would still be bad enough insofar as that someone should be deported, right? In certain connotations of identity theft, right?
Did you support Obama's deportation?
No, I actually disagree with Obama's position in terms of deporting anyone who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime, right? Who's in the country undocumented. But I heavily agree with Obama's position more than Trump's position because Trump is undermining people's due process rights, which is granted by the 14th Amendment to everyone who's in the country.
So did Obama though.
Obama did not violate due process rights.
Yes, he did. Obama used the rocket docket process. Actually there was a lawsuit from the ACLU.
You're talking about expedited removal.
Yeah, the ACLU
it still had a court process. So if you're going to say that there's
70%,
if you're going to say that there's a So it is due process. But if you're saying that you want more due process than that, that's fair. But like
Well, no,
that's
there was
still
a
significantly more.
lawsuit. There was a lawsuit that the ACLU said that a high percentage of the 3 million people that were deported with either without any type of legal representation or without seeing a judge. It was the numbers were projected around 70% of cases of people that were detained close, or that what it said was close by the border. I don't know who's determining what's close and what's not, but people that were detained close by the border, up to 70% of them were deported without due process, without any type of legal representation or seeing a judge. There was actually a lawsuit on it from the ACLU.
For sure, for sure. I'll look into that, and I would definitely like to like call that out if that's true.
Yeah,
To
no,
my
definitely look
knowledge,
into it.
to my knowledge, it is the case that there's a greater level of due process that was granted under the context of the Obama administration. But I would acknowledge any underlying basis of due process that was not like upheld.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with violating the Constitution. I do support deportation. However, I do believe that the country was founded on the Constitution. The Constitution says that all
So,
persons have
hold
the
up.
right to due process.
So the ACLU put a thing out on this saying when remove family individuals from this country permanently severing from their here actually I won't read the whole thing. I'll read to the bottom. It says fairness and individualized due process must be restored to the system. Expedited removal should be limited to cases where individuals are apprehended at ports of entry or land borders. All individuals must be screened to determine whether they are eligible for immigration relief or prosecutorial discretion, especially if they have U.S.-based families or have lived in the U.S. for a substantial period of time. Individuals without a lawyer should be advised of their rights by a judge before agreeing to stipulated removal. So it's okay. So really, all it's claiming here is the level of due process, right?
Hmm.
It yeah. So again, that's not claiming that like there is no level of due process. It's claiming that there is not a standard of due process met that they would argue for, which I would agree with. The deportation system was a fast track streamlined removal system that involved processes that would not go to the extent of due process they wanted, but did provide some aspect of due process of going in front of a judge. It's at least what I see. Now I would have to keep going, but
Yeah, no, definitely look into it. That's what I was reading up on the other day, was saying something along the lines that, I mean, I know I read something about the lawsuit. They said it was like Obama deported like 3 million people over his what's it called, tenure. Trump's only at about 300,000 right now. So I mean, for there to be as big of an uproar on his deportation policy when there was none on
I don't know
Obama's.
if there's been only 3,000, and it's also again to a greater extent they're violating due process rights.
Yeah, I think that's more of the issue than the number of people being deported. But
Yeah, that's exactly what people have said.
yeah, 8 years versus now in 6 months. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're saying in the chat, is comparing the timelines. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
eight
mean,
years
Obama
versus eight
deported
months. That's only 10%. So if it's 300,000 so far versus 3 million, is it at the same trend?
yeah, but
But if he's
but
doing
the
less due
number.
process, that means the same amount of people were deported. Just less people had due process rights.
Yeah, but I mean, but the time, yeah, he might have been deported that many in the first few months, but that's because, I mean, it was very heavily saturated based on the amount of people that were crossing the border during the previous administration. The number's obviously going to go down. A lot of people self-deported. I think they projected about like 1.6 million people self-deported. Basically, just left the country on their own because they didn't want to get deported. But so the number would obviously go down. I mean, it'd be statistically unlikely that they maintain that number throughout the rest of his administration or his time in office.
Yeah, so that would be definitely something that we'd have to see after the fact.
Yeah,
People
for
are
sure.
saying lag. Am I lagging?
They're
I don't
not
know
on
why
mine.
it's why is it buffering? I'm so confused. What? No? Why is it just happening on YouTube? Is it good now? Okay, sorry everyone. It wasn't lagging on TikTok, but it was lagging on YouTube. That's so weird. That's never happened before. All right, everyone on YouTube, make sure to hit that thumbs up, by the way, everyone. I would really, really, really appreciate it. I think we have another hour and 20 minutes or so left on the stream, everyone. Just letting everyone know. Just letting everyone know. But yeah, continue what we were saying.
No, I was just saying that. What are your thoughts on the alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's bad.
What do you think's bad about it?
This is definitely a little bit of a distinction than what we were talking about. I
Yeah,
think
no, I
the
mean,
conditions that existed at the camp were horrible for the people that existed there. They definitely
you
were
think the
violating people's
conditions
due
are
process
horrible?
rights. There were claims of people that were there that they were U.S. citizens.
So you
People are
think it's
missing
bad?
too. Did you hear that people are missing?
No, yeah, I did. I read the headline that said people were missing, but if you look into it, people aren't missing. There's definitely clerical errors. Alligator Alcatraz is a state-run facility, and a lot of the what do you call it? Like programs and databases that are being tracked federally, they might not be getting the same data that are being tracked on the state level. So when federal agencies are looking at it, they might not see stuff that they can see at the state level. And that
Why are
was
there
in the article.
1,200 errors? That's a lot of errors. I think that's
So
so many. I think that would be so many errors that it is definitely suspicious, and it
yes, I would agree if that was
definitely
true.
requires an investigation
I would agree if that was true. However, it's just not true.
immediately. Right? It is
I
true.
would
It needs
agree.
to be
Yeah, I would agree
investigated
if that is.
immediately.
I would agree if that was true. But the thing is that the if you read more into it, you'll see that there was people's locations aren't being shown while they're in transportation from one facility to another. So when there's no location on that particular detainee, it's showing they're counting that as someone that's missing just because
Where'd you
there's
read
not
this
showing a
from?
location. If you just look up any, you can look on anyone. You can even look on the left wing, more left leaning medias. It'll still tell you in there. I looked at it on CNN. I look that which is one of obviously a left leaning media. I've looked on it on multiple medias. Yeah, there's no. It's not showing the location of. They're counting that into the statistic of how many people are missing when it's not showing their location while they're being transported from one facility to another. And then also the disparity between programs and databases that are ran on the state level and federal level. There's disparities between those that are also being factored into people that are missing. They're saying 1,800 people are missing. It's just false.
Yeah, can you just provide an actual source and just claim instead of just claiming? Like, what's the title?
Search it. What was it? 1,800 people missing.
I can talk to someone else in the meantime while you want to do that. I'll just mute you. Just unmute whenever you're ready and just let me know. I'll add someone else up in the meantime. Um, let's get the next person up here. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the screen. Everyone here on TikTok. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat, everybody, and in the pinned comment on my YouTube. If you're on YouTube here, hit the likes, hit the like button. Let's try to get to 3,000 likes. I would really, really, really appreciate it, everyone. I would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. Anna, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much. Hector, thank you for the $5. Absolutely. Absolutely. Charles, thank you for the dollar. I'm actually not quite sure. Sarah, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you, Sarah. Kathleen, thank you for the $10. Hannah, thank you for the dollar. Thank you. Thank you. If you want to support me, as always, again, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as, again, you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Let's get the next person up here real quick. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the screen, everyone.
Hey, Park, I got something pulled up right here. It's saying that it was about 800 of them that had no records when they matched the detainees roster to the ICE's online locator system. There's about 800 of them that had no record, and roughly 450 of them that had call ICE for details listed. So they're calling them saying that they're missing when they're not missing. It just says call ICE for details. So I mean that's being factored in there as well. So the numbers are just inflated.
What's your title?
This is on democracynow.org.
What's the title?
The title of the article?
Article, yes.
Yeah, it's titled "Where Are the Detainees? Hundreds of alligator Alcatraz prisoners disappear from ICE databases." That's on Democracy
Um,
Now. The Miami Herald has something similar. I think the Miami Herald's the one that I read previously.
and wait, what is it? What was this source? Democracy Now?
Yes. Nah, I got the Miami Herald one pulled up now though.
Alrighty, Democracy Now. Hundreds of people, it says, have disappeared. Democracy Now speaks with the Miami Herald reporter who found that late August, about two-thirds of the 1,800 immigrants who were held there have gone missing from ICE's online database, with their families and attorneys unable to locate them. Earlier this month, the federal appeals court ruled the jail could continue to operate despite the reports of abuse. This is what we're seeing is a new model of immigration where state-run facility is operating an extrajudicial black site completely outside of the previous models of immigration detention in this country and is making what's already a terrible system somehow even worse, says Thomas Kennedy, a policy analyst at the Florida Immigration Coalition. That's what your own source says. Where's your source saying your point?
Which one are
It
you on
claim,
now? You on the Democracy Now one?
Yeah, I'm on Democracy Now. It says that they have gone missing and that their families and attorneys are unable to locate them.
Yeah, they said that there was one guy that they couldn't figure out where he was at for more than a week. But if you continue reading, it says that about 400 and something of them had listed call
When?
ICE for details.
Here we go. Okay, here's the conversation. It's a transcript of a conversation. Hundreds of people who were detained at the once troubled, dubbed, um, have been disappeared. It's just a conversation between them and Trump. I think Florida's done a great job by building it, and whether okay. Um, yeah, this is just a transcript. Can you provide me like an art, like a source instead of just a transcript?
It was when Shirsho Desgupta
Yeah, it's the
is
Miami Herald reporter. Yeah.
yeah, so he's the one that said it. That roughly 450 of them had call ICE for details on their
Yeah, and did they
on
get a
the
response?
on the online locator system.
And did they get a response?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say whether they did or not. It just says that
Okay,
they.
so then your source doesn't provide any actual claim that they're quote unquote not missing. You making the claim
But
that they're quote unquote
but it
not
doesn't prove
missing, and
that
you
they
didn't even
are.
read. Wait, I'll give you time to go read the source, but
But it
you
doesn't
can't
prove
make a
that they
claim like
are
that.
missing. But it doesn't prove that they are missing. It says that
Wait, no.
450.
Wait. I said it needs to be investigated, and that they are missing. We can't identify them. That's what I'm saying. Now you can try to say like, oh, well, we don't know if like what's happened to them, but right, it doesn't necessarily indicate anything nefarious or something like that. But then we do an investigation, right?
Yeah, it did, but that's what I'm saying. But the headline makes it seem that something nefarious happened, but it says call ICE for details, and then it just says that it's a pretty vague notion, and that they spoke to the
That's two
attorneys and said that
thirds of
it
the
could be.
detainees. You don't just mistake two-thirds of the detainees.
But it's not a mistake. It just says call ICE for details. It doesn't say that they don't know where they are. It just says call ICE for
So
details. It
it
doesn't
says,
say whether.
so they claimed, so my former colleague, Anna, obtained two rosters of Alligator Alcatraz detainees in July, and those rosters accounted for a total of a little more than 1,800 men who were held at the facility after a month. Around end of August, when the facility was winding down its operations, we matched the detainees in the rosters to ICE's online locator system, and we found that around 800 of them have no records, and roughly 450 of them had a result called Call ICE for Details, which is a pretty vague notation. We spoke to attorneys who said that the notation can mean anything. It could mean that someone is being processed for intake into a facility. It could mean that someone is being transferred from one site to another, or it could mean that the person is about to be deported. So they don't know.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that they're missing.
So no, it's just we don't know what's happening to them. So that's what we're saying.
Yes, and but that's based off of ICE's database, which is
So
one at the
800
federal
had
level.
no records, bro. Like, I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, on the
They're
federal
just
level because
claiming
they're at a state
explanations that it
facility.
could be. They're still missing. Push the
Yeah,
galaxy. Thank you.
but they're
You're,
they're
you're
not
just saying
missing.
you're just saying what the explanations could be. Well, yes, it is because it's not clarified.
But that's what I'm saying. But they're comparing a roster given to them by a state-run facility to a federal database. So that's what I'm saying is the point. Like they're saying that they're missing because there's a lapse in data from the state facility to a federal database, which I'm not saying is good, but it doesn't mean that these people are missing.
So someone asked, can you tell us whether or not someone has contacted ICE to figure out what's happened with those detainees? They said yes. We've spoke to an attorney and the family members of a person who was held at Alligator Alcatraz. His name is Michael Borrego Fernandez, and he was at the site for around a month. And in early August, he was shifted to Chrome Detention Center in Miami, which is a federal detention center, unlike Alligator Alcatraz. Then around Labor Day, his family realized that he has been sent to a federal detention facility in San Diego County in California, and they got his information through the online locator system. But he stopped calling them, and when his lawyer tried to contact him in the California facility, the staffers there kept telling him that we don't have anyone by that name. You should call ICE. And then the lawyer went to ICE, and ICE would just refer him back to the California site. And this went on for around a week until they finally heard from him. But by that point, he'd already been deported to Mexico.
Yeah, I mean,
so again, they are missing, and their family can't identify where they are. So that's definitely an issue with how the system is operating right now. So you could say that it could be that they have been deported, but they're still missing.
I'm not saying that people that there isn't an issue, but there's definitely not the 1,200 people missing, 1,800 people missing. That's just not true.
No, there's 1,200 people missing, and missing means missing. It's just we haven't identified them, where they are. That's literally what missing means.
They might not be identified on the ICE's database, but that doesn't mean that they're actually missing. That doesn't mean the state facility doesn't know where they are. That just means the ICE's locator website.
Well, then
doesn't
when they call, why do they keep rerouting them?
No, that's one person.
It's not one dude. Like, that is a person, their attorney, and that is an explanation of what's happening for other people. There are people that specifically have done that and have looked into to find out where their family members are. I'm sorry. Well, can you define missing?
No, I mean, you have the right definition of missing for sure. I'm just saying that that's not the case for 1,200 people.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about or add?
Think that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Appreciate you coming up.
Appreciate you, man. You have a good day.
You as well. Let's go on to the next person, everyone. Only send a guest request. Meet that set of criteria on the screen, everybody.